112. That's how many cars one of the brands on this list sold in Britain in 6 months. Not a week, not one bad month, 6 months. There's independent garages in Kent that get more motors than that through the door before Friday, and that brand is only number 4. Now listen, when a badge starts going under in this country, nobody rings you up about it. Your dealer doesn't tell you. The maker certainly doesn't tell you. You find out 3 years later when you're sat in front of a bloke offering you $2,000 less than you expected, and he's shrugging, and you're wondering what you missed. So today it's 6 brands that are in proper bother in the UK right now, not America, not Australia, here, on our roads, on our forecourts with our tax rules. And stay with me for number 1, because number 1 hasn't collapsed at all. It walked away, chose it, deliberately. And that's exactly why owning one right now costs you more than any of the other 5. I'm Terry Halloran, 65, and I've spent most of my life under cars in southeast London, independent garages mostly, the sort of place people come to when they can't afford to get it wrong. I don't sell cars. No manufacturer pays me a penny. I've got no badge loyalty, and nobody's buying me lunch to say nice things about anybody. Do me a favor before we start, hit subscribe. It's free, it costs you nothing, and this is the sort of thing that stops a mate signing for something daft on a Saturday morning. Right, where this comes from. Registration numbers are SMMT. Recalls and MOT history, that's DVSA and GOV.UK. Warranty extensions and compensation schemes, those come straight from the manufacturer's own published statements, not from me guessing. Model deletions and launch dates are Autocar, Auto Express and Parkers. Tax figures are HMRC and DVLA. Rates for this financial year. One thing I'll say up front, because it matters. You'll see videos telling you a brand's got 200 days of stock sat unsold in Britain. That number doesn't exist here. The SMMT doesn't publish stock days by model. America does, Australia does, we don't. So if somebody quotes it at you about the UK, they've made it up. I'd rather tell you what I can prove. Number 6. Number 6, Fiat. Now this one hurts, because Fiat used to be the answer for people who didn't have much money. Cheap, cheerful, easy to park, easy to fix. The 500 was on every second driveway in this country for about a decade. Proper little motor. And I'll give them this, the new Grande Panda's a good thing. 18 grand and change for the hybrid, roughly 21 for the electric one. Simple, upright, decent boot for the size of it. Nothing wrong with the car at all. The problem is what's happened to the brand here. First half of this year, Fiat registered 3,748 cars in the UK. Same 6 months last year, that was 6,136. In 2024, 8,500. In 2023, over 10,000. That's the numbers halving, then halving again in 3 years. But here's the bit that tells you where Britain sits in the pecking order. The Grande Panda was meant to land here in April 2025. It didn't. Customer deliveries got pushed to March 2026, 11 months late. And Fiat's own spokesperson said why. Demand for left-hand drive cars in other markets was eating the production. Right-hand drive went to the back of the queue. Read that again. They had the car. They just built everybody else's first. What it costs you, nothing directly, and that's the trap. It's residuals. A shrinking brand with a shrinking dealer count means the fella valuing your part exchange in 3 years has fewer buyers for it, and he prices for that. And if you're shopping used Fiat, check the plate on the TFL checker before you buy. Don't take a seller's word on Yuli's ever. Older petrols are a coin flip, and it's 12.5 quid a day when you lose. Verdict: the cars are fine. Britain's just not where they're sending them. Which brings me to a brand that came here to take on BMW and sold fewer cars than a decent 4 dealerships in a fortnight. Number 5. Genesis, Hyundai's posh arm. Landed here in the summer of 2021 with a genuinely good idea, German money luxury without the German dealer experience. Collection and delivery for servicing, 5-year warranty, one price, no haggling on the forecourt, and I'm not going to knock the cars. They're well made, the interiors are lovely, the warranty's proper, and the ownership package was thought through by somebody who'd actually been treated badly at a dealership. Here's the trouble. There are 6 Genesis retailers in the whole of the United Kingdom. 6: Surrey, Kent, Birmingham, Leeds, and the Manchester-Liverpool corner. Going to 7 this year. That's it. In 2025, they sold around 900 cars to UK buyers, and they've already binned models, the G70 Saloon and the GV80 SUV, both got dropped after shifting roughly 200 each over 3 years here. 200. BMW sells more 3 Series than that before the kettle's boiled. The UK operation's now been folded in behind Hyundai to keep the costs down. And then there's the tax, which nobody mentions and which absolutely matters on a car like this. Every Genesis on sale lists well north of 40 grand. Petrol, diesel or hybrid over £40,000 picks up the expensive car supplement, 440 quid a year, on top of the 200 standard rate for years 2 through 6. That's 640 a year. £2,200 in supplement alone over the 5 years. On the electric ones, the threshold went up to 50,000 this April, which helps a bit, but a loaded one still clears it. So, 6 dealers, 900 cars, models disappearing, and a tax bill designed for Mercedes money. Verdict: lovely car, and the trade doesn't know what to do with it. That's the whole problem in one sentence. Now, if 6 dealers sounds thin, number 4 sold 112 cars in half a year. Number 4, DS Automobiles. The French premium thing started life as the posh trim on a Citroen, went off on its own in 2014, sells itself on comfort and design rather than going round corners quickly. Fair play where it's due, they ride beautifully. If your back's had enough of firm suspension and low-profile tyres, a DS7 down a knackered B road is genuinely lovely. And the interiors are properly different. They're not pretending to be a German car, which I respect, but the numbers. First half of this year, 112 cars registered in the UK. Same period last year, 948. That's down 88%. All of last year came to just over 1,000. The DS7 was about half their business here. This year, 2 have been registered. 2. The new flagship, the number 8, has been on sale since March, and they've registered 70, and that includes the demonstrators sat on forecourts. Now the mechanical bit, because you might be looking at a used one and the money's tempting. The DS3 and the DS7. Cross back with the 1.2. PureTech petrol have the wet belt. Belt runs inside the engine, in the oil. I'll do that properly at number 2 because it's the same engine and it's the biggest bill on this whole list. Just know that if the car in front of you is a 1.2 petrol DS, that's the conversation. What I won't tell you is that parts are a problem, because they're not. It's Stellantis underneath. Same bits as a Peugeot, a Vauxhall, a Citroen. Any independent can get them, and any independent can fit them. The problem's the residual and the network. A car that 15 people a month buy new is a car. Nobody's queuing up for second hand. Verdict: buy one at 3 years old for buttons, service it at an independent, never buy one new. Quick favour before the top 3. If this is any use to you, give the like button a tap. Takes a second, costs you nothing, and it shoves this in front of somebody who's about to sign for the wrong motor this weekend. Cheers. Number 3, Honda. And I know I can hear you yelling at the screen. Honda's the reliable one. Honda's the badge you buy when you want it to just work. And do you know what? For the engineering, that's still largely fair. I've had K-Series engines on the ramp with proper mileage on them and no drama. The hybrids they're selling now are good, genuinely good. That's not what's collapsing. What's collapsing is Honda's position in this country. Swindon shut in 2021. There's no Honda built in Britain anymore. Then this April, they pulled the ENI1 off sale here. That was their only electric car. In under 3 years, they sold 7,122 of them in the UK, and Autocar's reporting is blunt about how it struggled to sell without discounts. Honda told them it had reached the end of its life cycle and there are no plans to bring it back. So Honda spent a chunk of this year with no electric car on sale in Britain at all. Nothing. Until the Super N arrived in July, a tiny thing based on a Japanese K car under 20 grand and 128 miles of range. That's their electric range now. One city car. Back in March, they also cancelled 3 EVs that were in development. Now here's the bit that actually costs an owner money, and it's the discounting. When a maker keeps running big discount events to shift a car nobody wants at list price, the fella who paid list gets destroyed. Your car's worth what the cheapest new one costs, minus the going rate for a year old. That's not Honda being wicked, that's just how it works. But it's your money. Verdict: the engines are still Honda. The badge's plan for Britain is anybody's guess. Number 2 is the one that actually turns up on my ramp. Number 2, Citroen. We bought these by the thousand. C3, C4, C3. Aircross the Berlingo if you needed the space. Cheap, soft, easy to live with, cheap to insure. Absolutely nothing snobby about a Citroen, and I've never had a problem with them as cars. Concession first, and it's a real one. Parts are cheap, they're everywhere, and any independent garage in the country can work on one. If you want low running costs on paper, a Citroen is a sensible shout. Right. Now the engine. The 1.0 and 1.2 PureTech petrol engines, 3 cylinders, turbo, in millions of Citroens, Peugeots, Vauxhalls and DS models, use a belt that runs inside the engine, submerged in the oil. Wet belt, belt in oil, whatever you want to call it. Here's what goes wrong. The belt sits in hot oil for its whole life. It degrades, it sheds material. That material goes round with the oil and blocks the pickup strainer in the sump. Oil pressure drops, and then the engine eats itself quietly from the inside on a car that was running fine that morning. Symptoms to listen for: burning oil between services, a rattle, and the low oil pressure light. That light is not a suggestion. If it comes on, stop. Don't drive it home. Don't drive it to me. The bills on a failed one run 3,000 to 6,000 on a car that might be worth 4. And this isn't me having a go. Stellantis themselves extended the warranty on the earlier PureTech engines, 100% of parts and labour, up to 10 years or 112,000 miles, conditions attached. Last year they opened a compensation portal for UK owners covering excessive oil consumption and premature belt failure for costs incurred between January 2022 and December 2024. The conditions are strict. You have to have followed the service schedule, and the diagnosis and repair have to have gone through the authorized network. But it exists, and if you've paid out on one of these, go and look at it. That's real money you might get back. And here's the rule I want you to take away from this whole video. Belt or chain is a question about the engine, not about the model. Same badge, same shape, different engine, different answer. The 1.5 Blue HDI diesel, that's a chain, and Stellantis has extended cover on that one too, 10 years or 150,000 miles for engines built between October 2017 and January 2023 because of camshaft chain trouble. Different engine, different failure, different fix. Check the engine. Never the badge. On the brand side, the C5X came off sale here in 2025, and Citroen's future in the UK is tied to whatever Stellantis decides its French brands are for. Verdict: a decent cheap car sat on top of the most expensive petrol engine failure in Britain. Check the engine code, check the service history, walk away if it's vague. Right, top 2 done. If you've stuck with me this far, do me a favour and subscribe before I get to number 1, because number 1 is the one nobody sees coming. Number 1, Jaguar. And here's the thing I promised you at the start. Jaguar hasn't collapsed. Jaguar stopped. On purpose. At the end of 2024, Jaguar ended retail sales of new cars in the UK. Not reduced. Ended. That was the first time since the Second World War that the brand had nothing new on sale in Britain. 5 models were axed: the XE, the XF, the F-Type, the E-Pace and the I-Pace. The F-Pace was the last one in production. Everything left on forecourts got sold as used. And JLR's own UK managing director said it out loud to the BBC. This was deliberate, part of the Reimagine plan announced back in 2021 to create breathing space before the relaunch. So I'm not going to stand here and tell you a 100-year-old British mark fell over by accident. It didn't. Somebody decided. Now the honest bit, and it's the bit everybody gets wrong. Parts are not a problem. JLR shares components across the group, and Land Rover is selling perfectly well. Filters, brakes, suspension, service items, your independent can get all of it, and it's no harder than any other premium car. Anybody telling you a Jaguar's unfixable because the brand's quiet is talking rubbish, and I'd rather tell you that than scare you into a decision. The problem is the money. There's been no new Jaguar for buyers to walk in and look at for well over a year. The four-door electric GT that's meant to restart the whole thing has slipped to this year, and it's a six-figure car north of 100 grand. On top of that, JLR got hit by a serious cyber attack in the autumn of 2025 that shut Solihull, Halewood and Wolverhampton and knocked their systems out. One study put the cost to the UK economy at around £1.9 billion. Whatever the recovery plan was, that didn't help it. What that does to you as an owner is simple. No new cars means no showroom traffic. No showroom traffic means no part exchange demand. No part exchange demand means your 3-year-old F-Pace gets valued by a bloke who has no queue of buyers behind him. And if that F-Pace listed over 40 grand new, and most did, you're paying the expensive car supplement on it too. 440 quid a year on top of the standard 200, years 2 to 6, whatever it's worth today. The taxman doesn't care what your car's fallen to. He cares what it cost when it was new. That's why it's number one. Not because the cars are bad, they're not. Because it's the only brand on this list where the plan is to sell you nothing for a while, and you're the one carrying the cost of the gap. Verdict: lovely cars, cheap to buy used, expensive to own, and impossible to sell well. If you're buying, buy one you intend to keep for a very long time. Right, quick run back. 6. Fiat, good little cars, and right-hand drive is last in the production queue. 5. Genesis, 6 dealers in the whole country and a 40 grand tax band. 4. DS, 112 cars in 6 months and a wet belt underneath a lot of the used ones. 3. Honda, engine still solid, no British factory, and an electric plan that fits in a shoebox. 2. Citroen, the PureTech wet belt, 3 to 6 grand, and a manufacturer scheme most owners don't know exists. 1. Jaguar didn't fall over, walked off, and owners are paying for the silence. Now let me be straight with you, because I don't want anyone panicking. Not one of these brands is going to vanish next Tuesday. Parts networks outlive badges by decades. I can still get bits for cars whose makers have been gone 30 years. And most of the cars on this list are perfectly good cars. Some of them are bargains precisely because the badge is out of favour. What changes when a brand goes quiet in Britain isn't whether you can fix it. It's what it's worth and how many people want it after you. So buy the engine, not the badge. Buy the service history, not the brochure. And know your tax before you sign, not after, because road tax and the emission zones will cost you more over 3 years than the thing you spent an hour haggling over. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 6 surprised you? And more to the point, have you got one? Tell me what it's actually been like, because owners know things surveys don't. And if I've got something wrong, say so in the comments. Don't be polite about it. I'd rather be corrected by somebody who's had the spanners on it than be right by accident. I read them. While you're there, like the video if it was useful, and subscribe to British Vehicles. That's this channel. Look after yourselves, look after your motors, and whatever you're buying next, buy with your head, not the badge. This video is based on publicly available recall notices MOT test data, safety ratings, reliability surveys, and independent review evidence current at time of publication. Individual vehicle outcomes vary. Some models may have had subsequent updates, recalls, or improvements. Always obtain current information and independent advice before making any purchase decision.